we're dreaming of reaching our first 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe and be the first to discover new stories every day. Picture this, man. I'm sitting in our kitchen, the microwave clock glowing 6:47 p.m., each tick landing like a slow drop of water on my head, steady and maddening. My hands grip the table so hard my knuckles are white, my heart pounding like I just hauled a double-pane window up 3 flights. Kara strolls in, tossing her bag on the chair, humming some pop song, her hair loose and that damn navy scarf around her neck. Thick. Wrong for the weather, not mine. She smells wrong too, like heavy cologne I've never known her to wear, and when she glances at me, her smile falters for a second before she says, all casual, "You okay, babe?" My throat's so tight I can barely breathe, and I'm staring at her, waiting for her to crack, to admit something. But she just opens the fridge, cool as hell, and I'm burning up inside, wondering how I let it get this far. You ever feel that, man, like you're about to explode but can't? Let's back up. I'm Ethan, 36, and I install windows and sliding doors for a living. It's grunt work, measuring, cutting, hauling heavy glass, dealing with fiberglass dust that sticks to your skin and silicone that never washes out of your jeans. By the end of a shift, my back's screaming, my hands are calloused, and I smell like sealant and sweat. But I like it. There's a rhythm to it. Line up the frame, check the level, seal it tight. You see the result right there, solid and real. It's honest work, and I'm good at it. Up until a few months ago, coming home felt just as solid. That's where Kara came in. I met her 3 years back at my buddy Noah's barbecue. I was there with a couple guys from work, flipping burgers, when I spotted her across the yard, tearing into a barista at the coffee shop next door. Something about her latte having almond syrup instead of vanilla. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the chatter, and everyone was watching her like she was a one-woman show. She was tall, with dark hair in a messy bun, wearing bright pink nail polish that flashed when she waved her hands. Most guys would have ducked out, thinking she was trouble. Me? I walked over, leaned on the counter, and said, deadpan, "You ever use that voice to get discounts? Or just to scare baristas?" She froze, then laughed, this loud, unfiltered sound that made her snort. Her green eyes locked on mine, and my pulse kicked up a notch. "You're bold," she said, smirking. "I like that." That was it. We were off and running. Kara worked at a salon, doing nails and brows, always coming home with stories about her clients. Divas, cheapskates, you name it. She was fast-talking, funny, the kind of person who could make a room feel alive. We started dating a couple weeks later, and by 6 months, she'd moved into my place. A small 2-bedroom rental with creaky hardwood floors, a sagging gray couch, and a kitchen table I'd built myself, though one leg was always a little off. The walls were plain white, scuffed from years of tenants, and we had a cheap TV perched on a stand we got off Craigslist. Kara made it hers, though. She'd stick post-it notes with dumb doodles on the fridge, leave her nail polish bottles scattered on the counter, and blast pop music while cooking pasta, the only thing she could make without burning. I'd come home, my boots caked in dust, and find her dancing in the kitchen, waving a spatula like a microphone. "Sing with me," she'd yell, and I'd roll my eyes but join in, butchering the lyrics. Those nights, man, they felt perfect. We'd end up on the couch, her cold feet tucked under my legs, arguing over who had to wash the dishes. I'd tease her about her snoring, and she'd swat me, laughing, "I do not snore, you liar." My chest would feel warm, like I'd found something I didn't know I was looking for. We'd leave each other notes. I'd find hers in my lunchbox, scribbled on paper towels, "Don't drop a window on your foot, loser." XOXO. I'd grin like an idiot at the job site, surrounded by sweaty guys and power tools. I'd bring her Snickers bars from gas stations, her favorite, and she'd pretend to be annoyed, saying, "You know I'm trying to eat healthy, right?" while tearing the wrapper open, her smile giving her away. We'd fall asleep on the couch. Some reality show droning in the background, her head on my shoulder, my arm around her. It felt like a team, like we were building something real. The trouble started slow, like a hairline crack in a window you don't notice until it's spiderwebbing. About a year and a half in, I started feeling her pull away. Not all at once, but in bits. In bed, she'd roll to her side, her back to me, leaving a cold gap between us. I'd reach out, just to touch her shoulder, and she'd shrug me off, muttering, "I'm hot. Ethan, let me sleep." My stomach would twist, and I'd lie there, staring at the dark, my jaw tight. Okay, I thought, people need space. I didn't want to crowd her. But it happened again. And again. My hands would get clammy, and I'd feel this pressure in my chest, like I was screwing up somehow, but didn't know how. Her phone was another thing. She started taking it everywhere: bathroom, kitchen, even when she was just grabbing something from her car. One night, I walked into the bedroom while she was brushing her teeth, and her phone was face down on the nightstand, buzzing. I didn't touch it. I'm not that guy, but I saw the screen light up. A name: Alex. No message, just the name. My heart did a little lurch, and my mouth went dry. I asked her later, keeping it light, "Hey, who's Alex?" Saw the name pop up. She was toweling off her hair, and her hand stopped midair, just for a second. Then she laughed, sharp and quick, her voice with a bite. "God, Ethan, don't get weird. Just a friend from the salon." I nodded, my throat tight, but my fingers were twitching in my lap. "All right," I said, forcing a smile. But it didn't sit right. That laugh, the way her eyes slid away from mine, it felt off. You ever get that, man, when someone's answer feels like a dodge, and you're stuck wondering if you're the one overthinking it? Then the nights out started piling up. Kara always liked her girls' nights with Jenna, Kelsey, and Taylor, her salon crew. I didn't care. She'd come home giggling, telling stories about some client's bad dye job. But then it went from once a week to 2, then 3. She'd leave in tight jeans and a top I hadn't seen before, her perfume heavy and new, not the light floral she used to wear. I'd ask, "Who's all going?" and she'd wave me off, her voice breezy but sharp. "The usual, Ethan. Why do you care?" My pulse would spike, and I'd feel my hands clench under the table. "Just curious," I'd say, keeping it calm, but my chest was burning. One night, she said she was staying at Jenna's. "We're having drinks. I'll Uber back tomorrow," she texted. I didn't think much of it, just crashed early after a long day. But when she got home the next afternoon, she was wearing a shirt I didn't recognize, a loose, gray button-up, nothing like her usual fitted stuff. I remembered what she'd left in, a black tank top with lace straps. My heart started pounding, my neck felt hot. "New shirt?" I asked, my voice steady but my hands gripping my coffee mug. She glanced down, like she'd forgotten, and laughed, a little too loud, her eyes flicking away. "Oh, yeah, borrowed it from Jenna. Spilled something." My jaw tightened, and I nodded, but my stomach was churning. I wanted to call her out, but I didn't. Not yet. Another time, I came home from a brutal job, 12 hours installing sliders in a new condo building, my arms aching, my shirt soaked. Kara was supposed to be home. We planned to order pizza and watch a movie. The house was dark, no note, no text. I called her, my fingers shaky. Voicemail. I texted, "You okay?" Nothing. By 1 a.m., my chest was tight, and I was pacing the living room, my boots still on. She rolled in at 2:30, her makeup smudged, that heavy cologne smell clinging to her. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice low, my fists clenched at my sides. She tossed her keys on the counter, her eyes rolling, her voice loud and sharp. "God, Ethan, I was at Kelsey's. My phone died, okay." I stepped closer, my heart hammering. I checked. "Battery's at 47%, I said, my voice flat. That lie was lazy, Kara. Her face froze, her eyes narrowing, and she screamed, her voice cracking. "You're spying on me now? That's pathetic." My throat tightened, my hands shaking. "I'm not spying. I'm just done with the bullshit," I said, my voice hard, cutting through her deflection. She shook her head, her voice rising. "You're exhausting, Ethan." She stormed to the bedroom, slamming the door. I stood there, my pulse pounding in my ears, feeling like I'd crossed a line, but knowing she'd pushed me there. You ever have someone lie to your face, man, and you just know it's the start of something worse? The next few months were like walking on a fraying rope. Every week, something new gnawed at me. Her phone was always face down now, buzzing at odd hours. She'd laugh at texts, then flip the screen over when I walked in, her fingers quick. I wasn't checking her phone. I didn't want to be that paranoid guy, but my brain wouldn't let it go. My hands would get sweaty, my heart racing every time she left the house with a vague "be back later." I'd lie awake, the ceiling fan clicking, counting its rotations to keep from texting her again. One evening, we were supposed to go to my cousin's engagement party. I'd been stoked, Kara in a dress, us laughing, maybe a night where things felt like they used to. She said she'd be ready by 5 p.m. I got home at 4, showered, put on a clean button-up, my best one. 5 came and went. By 6, I was pacing, my tie loose, my palms sweaty. I texted her, "Where you at?" No answer. At 6:30, she called, her voice rushed. "I got held up at work, babe. Go without me." My jaw clenched, and I felt a knot in my stomach. "Work? I said flat, my voice low. Yeah, she said, too quick, her tone breezy. I'll make it up to you. I hung up, my hands trembling, and went alone. Noah was there, asking where Kara was, his brow raised. I shrugged, my throat too tight to answer. Later, I found out the salon closed at 3 that day. She wasn't at work. My chest burned, and I felt my fists clench under the table. Another night, she came home at midnight, her makeup smudged, her voice too loud, too bright. Had a blast, she said, kicking off her shoes, her tone carefree. I was on the couch, half asleep, the TV flickering some infomercial. I sat up, my throat tight. Who were you with? I asked, my voice steady but hard. She froze, then turned, her eyes narrowing, her voice sharp. Why do you always do this? I was with the girls, Ethan. You want their names and social security numbers too? My pulse hammered in my ears, and I felt my fists clench. I just want a straight answer, I said, my voice rising despite myself. She laughed, short, bitter, her tone mocking. You're so paranoid. It's exhausting. She walked away, leaving me sitting there, my chest burning, wondering if I was losing my mind. The worst was a Saturday night a month later. She said she was going to a girls' weekend at Jenna's. We're just chilling, I'll be back Sunday, she texted, with a heart emoji that felt hollow. I worked a half day, installing a storefront window, my hands steady but my mind racing. I got home early, expecting a text or a call. Nothing. The house was quiet, the fridge humming, my boots echoing on the hardwood. I texted her, "You good?" No reply. By Sunday morning, my stomach was in knots, my fingers drumming on the counter. I called Jenna. Voicemail. Kelsey. Voicemail. Finally, Taylor picked up, her voice hesitant. Hey Ethan. Kara? I think she was with Jenna. Or maybe last week. I'm not sure. My heart sank, and a cold sweat hit my neck. She wasn't with them. I knew it. She walked in Sunday afternoon, wearing that gray button-up again, her hair messy, that cologne smell stronger than ever. My hands were trembling, but I kept my voice low. Where were you? I asked, standing in the kitchen. She didn't look at me, just grabbed a soda from the fridge, her voice casual. I told you, Jenna's. I stepped closer, my chair scraping the floor. Jenna didn't answer. Neither did Kelsey. Taylor didn't know where you were. Her eyes flicked to mine, and I saw a flash of something. Guilt, maybe, before she laughed, sharp and dismissive, her tone biting. You called my friends? That's pathetic, Ethan. My blood boiled, and I stepped closer, my voice hard. Don't turn this on me. You're lying. She slammed the fridge door. Her face red, her voice loud and shaking. You're always overcomplicating things. She stormed out, leaving me standing there, my heart pounding, my fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. Man, how do you keep your cool when someone's just straight up lying to your face? Part 4, the breaking point. It all crashed down on a Tuesday. I was wrapping up a job in the east part of town, a small apartment complex with floor-to-ceiling sliders. It was brutal, 90 degrees, my shirt soaked, my arms screaming from hauling glass. I was driving back, windows down, the radio low, when I saw her. Kara. She bounced down the steps of a townhouse complex I'd never been to, a block of new builds with fancy brick facades and sleek black railings. She was smiling, glowing like she just got kissed, her hair loose and bouncing, a hoodie 3 sizes too big swallowing her frame, and that navy blue scarf, thick and out of place in the heat. My heart stopped, and my hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles cracked. I slowed down, my breath shallow, watching her laugh, her head tilted back, looking at someone just out of sight around the corner. That smile, hadn't seen it in weeks, not for me anyway. My stomach twisted, and a cold sweat hit my neck. I didn't stop, didn't yell. I kept driving, my hands shaking, and pulled into a gas station 2 blocks away. I sat there, the engine idling, my pulse hammering in my ears. I pulled out my phone and started calling. Jenna didn't answer. Kelsey went to voicemail. Taylor picked up, her voice nervous. Was Kara with you this weekend? I asked, my voice calm but cold, my throat tight. Long pause. I think so. Or maybe Jenna's. I'm not sure. My stomach dropped, and I hung up, my fingers trembling. I sat there for 10 minutes, staring at the dashboard, my breath ragged. It was real now. No more excuses. I got home before her. Sat in the kitchen, the microwave clock ticking, 6:07, 6:08, 6:09. My hands were sweaty, my jaw so tight it ached. I kept seeing her smile, that scarf, the way she moved like she didn't have a care in the world. When she walked in, tossing her bag on the chair, my chest felt like it was caving in. She was humming, her scarf still on, that cologne smell hitting me like a slap. She glanced at me, her smile fading, her voice light. You okay? I didn't answer. I stood up, my chair scraping, and twisted the silver ring off my finger, slow, the scratched metal catching the kitchen light. My hands were steady, but my heart was racing. I looked her dead in the eye and dropped it at her feet. It hit the hardwood with a soft clink. Pack your stuff, I said, my voice low and hard, my hands shaking at my sides. Tonight. I know where you were. I know everything. Tomorrow, I'm filing papers. Her face froze. Her eyes went wide, and her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then she shook her head, her voice trembling. Ethan, no. You're misunderstanding. I cut her off, my voice colder, my chest burning. Don't. I saw you. The shirts, the smells, the lies. I'm done. She stepped toward me, her hands reaching out, her voice cracking. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Tears were streaming down her face now, and her voice was desperate. I felt my throat tighten, my pulse pounding, but I shook my head. You thought I wouldn't notice? You thought I'd just keep eating it. My voice was shaking, and I hated it. She grabbed for my hand, her fingers cold, her voice breaking. Ethan, please. Don't throw away 3 years over a guess. I pulled my hand back, my chest tight, my jaw clenched so hard it hurt. You threw it away, I said, my voice steady now, though my hands were trembling. I'm just taking out the trash. She sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face, her sobs loud and messy. It wasn't serious, she whispered, her voice breaking. I felt boxed in. It wasn't anything. My blood boiled, and I felt a knot in my stomach. I wanted to yell, to ask her how she could do this, but I didn't. You've got tonight, I said, my voice flat, my hands steady now. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and started packing, jeans, work shirts, my toothbrush. I'm staying at Noah's, I said over my shoulder. My voice hard, and walked out, the door clicking shut behind me. I stayed at Noah's for 3 weeks. His place was a dump, empty soda cans on the counter, a couch that smelled like his dog, Max, but it was quiet. No ticking clocks, no waiting for someone who wasn't coming home. I'd lie on his lumpy guest bed, my hands behind my head, staring at the cracked ceiling. My chest felt heavy, like I was carrying a stack of glass panels, but it wasn't breaking me. I kept replaying the last 3 years, the good stuff, like her leaving notes in my lunchbox, her cold feet on the couch. The bad stuff, like her lies, that scarf, the way she made me feel like I was losing it. I didn't cry or yell. I just felt done. Like I'd finally set down something I'd been carrying too long. Noah was solid. He didn't pry, just handed me a Coke and said, his voice gruff, "You're better off, man. Trust me." I nodded, my throat tight, but it didn't feel real yet. I kept expecting her to call, to show up, to beg. She texted once, a week later. "I'm sorry. Can we talk?" I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen, my heart racing for a second. Then I deleted it, my hands steady, my chest lighter. I wasn't going back. I found a 1-bedroom apartment across town, small, with beige walls and a view of a parking lot. It was bare at first, a mattress, a folding chair, a TV I barely used. But it was mine. Work kept me grounded. Measuring frames, cutting glass, sealing edges. It was simple, predictable. My hands knew what to do, even when my head was spinning. My coworker Mike noticed I was quieter. One day, he clapped me on the shoulder, his voice low. "You look like you're carrying the world, Ethan. Let it go." I gave him a half smile, my chest loosening. "Working on it," I said, my voice steady. A month later, I ran into Taylor at the hardware store, picking up caulk for a job. She was in the paint aisle, holding a can of gray, and froze when she saw me. Her eyes softened, like she felt sorry for me, her voice careful. "Hey, Ethan. I guess they're official now. Kara and the guy? I'm sorry. You deserved better." My stomach twisted, but I didn't flinch. I'd known it was coming. "Thanks," I said, my voice calm, my hands in my pockets. She hesitated, like she wanted to say more, but I nodded and walked away, my jaw tight, but my head clear. 7 months later, I was at a coffee shop near my place, my boots dusty from a long day, my hoodie stained with sealant. I heard her voice before I saw her. "Ethan." I turned, and there was Kara, holding a to-go cup, her hair shorter, her nails plain. Her eyes were tired, her face thinner. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. "Hey," I said, my voice neutral, my shoulders relaxed. She bit her lip, her voice soft, hesitant. "I messed up. I know that now. I didn't mean for it to happen like that." She paused, her eyes searching mine, her hands fidgeting with the cup. I miss you. I looked at her, and for a second, I saw the girl who used to dance in the kitchen, who left notes that made me laugh. But that was gone. You made your choice, I said, my voice quiet but firm, my hands steady in my pockets. And I don't belong to that story anymore. Her face fell, her eyes wet, and she nodded, her voice breaking. I'm sorry. I shrugged, my chest light, my breath even. Take care, Kara, I said, and walked out, the door chime ringing behind me. It's been a year now. I'm still in that apartment, but it's home. Got a decent couch, a table I built myself, solid, no wobble. Works good. I got bumped up to lead installer, more responsibility, but better pay. I don't think about Kara much anymore. When I do, it's not anger or hurt. It's just a memory, like an old job you don't miss, but learned from. I've been hanging with Noah more, catching games at his place, joking about his dog chewing my shoes. I started jogging in the mornings, just to clear my head. The burn in my lungs, the slap of my sneakers on pavement, it feels right. Man, you ever look back and wonder why you didn't walk away sooner?